Netherlands was getting corn from up in Germany and traveling also with one ship in 1 year time. You would send out a ship up north, get grain, you would send it out south to France and get wine, get salt, and you'd use this to do a enterprise trade effectively, one leg over there, one leg over there. And if you had a boat as a merchant, you would never own your own boat. You'd slice it up in 16 shares with other merchants. And those merchants would do exactly the same. So the essence of trading in medieval times here in the Netherlands is 1 year's trade. At the end of the year, you sit in a bar and you say, okay, what did we make? 16 ships, 16 shares. And then you end up and do the same thing in the next year. Now, we got into war with Spain. We wanted to go to Indonesia, but that takes a longer time. So you need more money to equip ships. There were some small companies doing this already, and the Dutch Prime Minister said, come on, we're going to make a huge corporation. We call it the East India Company. We'll send out money, but we need money for that. So they said, we're going to issue shares. It's for 10 years' time. Give us your money. And people did want to give money because it would earn you quite something, but putting your money somewhere for 10 years, would you do that?
Yeah.
No, you want to trade.
So that's how the shares will go.
That's where we started.
This is the whole panel thing. So, I mean, I know that you're thinking...
we'll move on.
Yeah, so just get to the clue because we have 3 minutes to do the history.
All right. Yeah. So, there we go. Then we're rushing. So that's where the share came from. It was no use unless you could trade it. So they said, okay, we're going to trade shares. There are discussions about, should we have a Fed coin, a government-backed currency? The answer, yes, it was there already in 1609, but it was called the Amsterdam Exchange Bank. So we had experience, it was a good thing.
So we did that too?
We had a Tulpenbollen, of course.
Yeah, Tulpenbollen. How long did that actually last, that whole Tulpenbollen? How many years?
Well, you could say the run-up was from 1600 to 1634 with the introduction of the tulip in the Netherlands, and then the hype started from 34 until 37.
Okay, 3 years.
So 3 years.
How many people were involved?
Actually, at that point in time, it was 1% owning or being involved, rather than 3% now.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where it fueled, and that was the moment that futures were introduced.
Ah, the futures.
So we have some similarities.
It was only a very small period that it really became crazy. It was
small
like
period.
3 months or 6 months.
Yes, and put this in the context of those days, the plague was going around. So people got inheritances, got money. They didn't know whether they were going to be dead next day. So the risk-taking might have been different in those days than right now. We had around 70-20, a whole set of companies setting up, like companies of countries that didn't exist, but you could buy bonds and stock and shares. That led to the naming of wind trade. There's wind trade shares that are actually nothing. The only remaining share is the ASR insurance company. That's the only remaining share.
So basically shares which were worth nothing, which were not backed by anything, were already...
And everyone going for it, and then finding out it doesn't work. So in the Kalverstraat, main shopping street, there was a big riot. There was a play by Pieter Langendijk, sort of like the Verleiders. Everyone got annoyed, angry, and they wanted to...
this is the BitConnect of the
sort of the BitConnect crowd.
We have that too, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Just a pointer to make sure, banks are only here for a very short period of time. We think banks were always there. They weren't. We did lots of trade and finance without banks. So keep that in mind.
There's a lot of people predicting that we don't need a bank in their current form.
So that's possible. They were only here for a short time. So then, even sort of 110 years ago, the same mechanism, electric tram company. Yeah, great shares. Great shares. Let's buy it. And the guy here says, well, the prospectus doesn't tell you anything, but nevertheless, it will be most likely oversubscribed because
the white paper.
Yeah, it sounds nice. It looks nice. So the public is really enjoys this.
Real information doesn't count.
No.
Just more. Is it popular?
Everyone likes it.
Do you have a
so just subscribe,
football player?
Go in.
Do you have
So those are mechanisms that we see. This is a reminder that a lot of regulation in the financial markets and stock markets were initially self-regulation. So if we're thinking about this area, there's no harm in self-regulation. It's a logical path, even from a historic perspective.
Very cool.
Of course, we have DigiCash.
Yeah.
David Chaum being the one developing the first electronic cash on the internet.
Why did he fail? Technically or politically or social?
He was a complex personality.
Good.
He had a bright mind, and he didn't want to give his baby away.
Okay.
So that's sort
Open
of
source was not on his agenda yet.
no, no. So that's DigiCats, of course, and then I figured it would be good to have a look at the regular market and see what happened there. I mean, we can look at the cryptocurrency and say, well, that's all fake news, but we've had some other
and they said
fake news in
the IPO of the .com was 6 trillion, or 16 trillion or 6 trillion. I mean, one of the two. But I mean, like 10 times or 20 times bigger in a much smaller world. Okay.
Funny stuff has been happening in the regular financial world as well. So we could care about cryptocurrency, but this happens also in the regular world.
Yeah.
You can invest in trees, in ships, and
yesterday we had Ron, who's probably watching, but Ron was the person who helped Nina Brink to go to the market. He worked for the bank, for ABN AMRO.
And of course, why not iSafe? We were all in a moment like, well, we're going to earn this extra percentage.
And they paid all the money back.
They paid all the money back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So these are the reminders. We are maybe in a situation where we just want to make money so badly that we'll go for anything. In this case, iSafe, or it could be cryptocurrency, who knows?
Yesterday with Scheringa, who is doing a 10 million ICO, who did the DNB, and he said, hey, we paid everybody back. We went bankrupt. We paid everybody back, and there's $1 billion. There's $1 billion left. You know, so it is actually.
So he's.
He says I was completely innocent.
Yeah, sure, okay. A reminder: we saw this crowd kicking in the doors at the Kalverstraat, and Occupy is a reflection of.
And also how completely unequal the society has become. You know, really.
So you're bound to get a return, and of course, Bitcoin is an example of that. We had the Bitcoin conference, which was historic, and the letters ended up in the garden of Bitonic. I found them later, so I figured that was
we had and actually people know of the top 10 programmers who work on Bitcoin. Number 1 lives in Eindhoven, van der Laan, and there's a second Dutch person. So there's 10 people doing all the major program for Bitcoin, and 2 of them are Dutch.
So then we end up in the blockchain era and the Bitcoin area. We see the Dutch Central Bank experimenting. We see our securities regulator warning, and of course we end up in the hearing last week in Parliament where there's this new discussion: should we regulate more? Because one of the interesting things yesterday is that it's clear that AFM and DNB already apply rules to everyone. So.
Thank you very much, Simon. And here we are today. And Simon is here, so please, if you're in the breaks, talk to him, because he has so much story. I'm really sorry to cut your course short. You really took half of the panel time, but it's great. Thank you very much, Simon. Okay.